Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Director of Football Sabotage with Livorno. So in today's episode we are going to go through the January transfer window. I've actually had to come back a little bit early before it started as the thing has happened. Our third choice centre-back LCO looks like he's going to join Corinthians. They've had a £19.5 million offer accepted on the 30th of December, or the 31st of December I think it was. Well, that's not the thing. Ponce looks like he will be finally leaving the club. We've hung on to him for years. £95 million is what's going to get him. He's worth £83 million. He's the best striker in the game, hands down. He's not interested in discussing a new contract, so it looks highly likely that Ponce will leave the club this season in January and he will join Manchester City, which is utterly devastating, particularly to happen in the January transfer window and not during the summer transfer window. Obviously, financially, it's quite good. Not the offer that we've received for him personally, but getting £95 million into the club is something that's kind of needed. Our finances have been difficult this season due to the high amount of wages we are paying. With Ponce leaving the club, that'll be a big lot off the weekly wage budget, plus the £95 million that's coming in. I'm not going to replace him. I don't think I'm going to recall Stanimir Stoichev from his loan deal at Schalke. He's been developing quite well. He scored a few goals for them as well, so getting him back in as our third choice with Weber and Ralovic now becoming our main two is looking likely as to be what is going to happen. So yeah, it looks like we're going to be in the market for centre-half, at least a backup one. And that's pretty much it so far. Left wing back, of course, I'm going to be looking at. Until Ponce left, I thought we had a real chance in the Champions League this season, but it doesn't look like it's too likely to happen. We'll have a look through the rest of this stuff shortly. I'll quickly run you through the fixtures since the last time we met, which was the 3-0 win against Inter Milan. We have just been utterly dominant. We've only conceded one goal in the remaining fixtures. The first win was a 7-0 win against Feyenoord in the final game of our Champions League group stage. Right with one, Ponce with a hat-trick, Weber with two, Altena with one. We'll take a look at our group stage. That means we qualify top of the group ahead of Bayer Leverkusen, and the draw has been done for the Champions League and first knockout round, which will be against Athletic Bilbao. Following on from that was a 2-0 away win against Bologna, which, if you're a fan of the series, you'll know is absolutely huge. Bologna are by far and away the biggest bogey club for us. They always take points away from us or defeat us during seasons, so getting a 2-0 away from home win is fantastic. We then faced Chievo in the Italian Cup first round, 1-3-1. Heavily rotated side, Alves, Ralovic and Weber with the goals. Perugia at home next up, Pezzulo and Ralovic with the goals for us there. Spezia away from home, 2-0. Weber and Oscar Lopez with the goals. And finally was a 6-0 home win against Entella, who were bottom of the league, I think, when we played them. Gonzalo Alves, Weber with a hat-trick, Oscar Lopez and Kyle Wright with the goals. That sees the Serie A table looking like this. Napoli are just drawn a lot of games, so we have actually extended our lead to 10 points over second place Napoli. As you can see, Entella, Torino and Spezia currently occupying the bottom three and looking highly likely that they will be relegated. Sampdoria haven't really kicked on from their early season form. They were 9 wins out of 9, so in the previous 10 they have won 3, drew 1 and lost 6. So they are really struggling. And Inter Milan, again, similar sort of story. They were unbeaten until the game before we played them. They've lost a further game and drew a couple as well, I think. So, yeah, things are going well in the league. Champions League, things were going absolutely fantastically. But now that Ponce is going to leave the club for £95 million, it causes a little bit of issues now, I think. It's just rough. He is the best striker in the game. And unfortunately, obviously with the fact that he's not willing to talk to me about a new contract, highly suggests that he will accept the contract offer from Manchester City. They're not going to not pay him the money he wants, you know. He is the highest earner at the club, so if I did actually manage to somehow offer him a contract, that would be even further extended. Do I think we'll miss Ponce massively? Of course we will. He's the best striker in the game. But Ralovic and Weber are two of the next best strikers in the game. Not so much Weber, but Ralovic is definitely improving massively. Weber, in the games he's played, is scoring goals. He's got 8 goals and 7 starts in Serie A, and he's a fantastic striker. And I think I'll show you Stoichev as well, because he has been improving quite rapidly at Schalke. And I think bringing him back in, getting him as much game time as possible as well. He's got 4 goals in 8 games in the Bundesliga, 3 and 3 in the Europa League, 2 and 1 in the German Cup. So 9 goals in 12 starts altogether for Stoichev at Schalke. So we are going to recall him from his loan when the January transfer window does actually open, because it's not even open yet and everything's already up in the air about what's going to happen at the club. 95 million for Ponce. It's not good. And just further demonstrating our need for a bit of a financial boost, which will come with the sale of Ponce, we are currently on an overall balance of £153,000. Our wage bill is just too high for a team like Livorno to currently accept. You know, we're not bringing in the sponsorship deals that the likes of Juventus and stuff will bring in, even though every single season we are performing much better than they are. So the money coming in will be nice. It'll keep the club afloat. So the January transfer window is now open. We do have a couple of games to play during this period, the first of which is an Italian Cup quarter-final against Palermo. Then we'll play in the Super Cup against AC Milan further down the line. So I'll play them games, show you the results. Nobody's formally been sold yet. We're in the 5th of January now. So Ponce is still at the club. Maybe I should play Ponce and see if we can get him injured for 6 months. So maybe Man City might pull out of the deal. But I don't think that would be too wise of me, really. So we're just coming to the end of our game against Palermo in the Italian Cup quarter-final, and Ponce is leaving the club with a hat-trick. So at least he's done one final bit of business for us, getting himself a hat-trick in what will probably be his final game for the club. Udem getting a couple as well, seeing us through safely to the Italian Cup semis. Well, we've got to get past the semi-finals due to our board expectations to reach the final. But Ponce, my sweet child, Thanks for the memories. An offer that I'd forgot had actually come in was an offer for Kafania from Slavia Prague. Our backup right wing back is leaving the club and he's joined Slavia Prague for £15.25 million after he requested a transfer. So not only are we on the hunt for a backup left wing back, we're on the hunt for a backup right wing back. And this looks like it's going to be the guy that comes in and becomes our first choice at left wing back. Jerome Mert got some fantastic potential, some fantastic physicals and mental attributes. Technically, he's good defensively, at the very least. So, and obviously we'll be training him at that left wing back role. That means Oscar Lopez will be pushed back to being a backup option rather than being our main starter if we do sign this guy. So, and obviously this deal sort of depends on Ponce leaving. Although we could probably still get it over the line without Ponce leaving at all, because LCO is due to leave the club as well. I made a cheeky £30 million offer for Nut Johnsgaard. He can play left wing back, but he's currently worth £56 million, and I don't think Manchester City are interested in cashing in, but I would love to bring him back into the club. So a couple of things happening right now. Belangioli's handed in a transfer request after not getting much game time, which he is now whinging about because we've rejected a loan offer for him. LCO has decided to leave the club for a fee that could rise to £19.5 million, but at the very least £15.5 million coming in straight away. So we could potentially be losing one of our homegrown Italian players in Belangioli, which will be a big gutting. LCO leaving's no big deal. He's our third choice centre half. That could definitely be improved upon, so I am looking into doing just that. I've got some scout reports coming in, so we'll see what happens. Well, I made an inquiry for Johnsgaard, and I don't think it's a value for money, 150 million. The day has come. Ponce has left the club. £95 million. Only 52 million come back into the transfer budget, but he has left the club. And goodbye, Ponce. He's been a fantastic player for us. £12.5 million bought him all those seasons ago. The past 2 seasons have been utterly unbelievable. He was on course to do similar things this season. But Man City have come in with the £95 million bid, and he has left the club. So on that note, hold on, Matsalossi, what are you whinging about? Nobody's ever bigger than the club. Oh, well, so you want to go, do you? No, he's decided to back down. Salossi, I don't accept the bids. The director of football does. That's another thing that I wish was added into Football Manager. This director of football took more responsibility for the things he did rather than me taking the flak for it. But we're returning Stoichev to the club. He will become our third choice striker, and Weber will move up in the pecking order to our second choice striker. So Stanimir Stoichev returns at the club. We'll have to take him off the loan list, otherwise our director of football will just start accepting loan bids for him. He did okay at Schalke. I think he scored like 4 goals in 9 games in the league, 9 goals in 12 altogether. But Stoichev will turn good. I think he'll turn out to be on a similar level to Ponce, if not, well, he's not going to be better, but on a similar level than him once he gets the game time. So we've lost quite a few players in our first team squad now, so this January transfer window is turning to be quite a big one. So we've got about 15 minutes to go in the Italian Super Cup. We are 3-1 up in the first game we've played since Ponce has left the club. The post-Ponce era has begun, and it looks like we're going to win 3-1. Renald Weber, his replacement, has scored 2 goals on the night. Ralovic has scored the other. Our 2 strikers combining nicely, with Ventroni getting 2 assists and Kyle Wright getting a goal as well. So there we are. Won the Italian Super Cup. I'm still working on transfers. There's not long left. 2 days left to go in the January transfer window. We are looking to bring in a centre-back, a right wing-back and a left wing-back. We have, of course, already recalled Stoichev to replace Ponce in the squad. So we'll see how that goes. No further offers have come in for any of our major players. No offers for anybody, really, to be honest with you. We're just playing on to see how things go. We'll keep it going. There's only 1 day left. I'm still waiting on 3 transfers. I'll show you them right now. Bruno Santos on loan from Benfica to be our backup centre-back. There was one guy who I actually wanted to sign, but he would have cost too much money to be our backup. Alexei Avdiev. He looks incredible to me at 19 years old, and he was only worth £1.1 million at Shakhtar, so I thought maybe a £10 million bid or something might have taken him away from them. But they didn't want that. They wanted something closer to like 70. So I'm going to give that one a skip for now. It might be something I revisit in the summer. Jerome Mayert is the left wing back I'm looking to sign. He is costing quite a lot of money, £37 million. But I think he will be our starting left wing back going forward. And he looks very talented with a lot of potential to grow. Our final player who we're looking to sign for £18.5 million is Patrick Pelak, who is a bit similar to Perica Ivanovic, if you remember him. He's a right midfielder who can also play at right wing back. The defensive stats aren't his strong point, but we've got Ventroni for that. We don't need a big defensive right wing back. We need just someone to come in, maybe even play in the games where we really need goals, because he is more attack minded. So we are going to take part in the final day of the transfer window, and we'll see if all of our deals actually come through or not. Little headline there saying John's God. We weren't really interested in him. If he was available for like 35-40 million pounds, I would have actually signed him as our left wing back, but that was not to be. Vaishadil, one of our young strikers, gone out on loan to Torino. We'll wish him well. Hopefully he comes back a much better player. A couple of more loan signings, and here we are. The 3 boys are coming in. So Jerome Mert, £37.5 million. He's in the van. Patrick Pelak, he has joined. And Bruno Santos, were paying a lot for his loan fee, but I needed anybody in to come in to play in that squad. So a 2.5-star signing in Jerome Mert. Not the greatest in terms of straight into the first team, but he is probably a bit better than Oscar Lopez, and we will get him training to be a left wing back rather than just a left back. Pelak, same with him. We'll get him training to be a right wing back rather than a right midfielder. I'll do that in a second. And Santos, he's joined the club as well. Not much to do with him. He doesn't need an intensive language course. He must already know Italian. So we'll get him as our wing back. I think that's like similar sort of level to what Ventroni is anyway, being able to play at right wing back. So there's nothing too great that is lost there. We'll get these boys registered, and we'll give them the squad numbers that they do desire if they are available. And that might be the end of our January transfer business for this season. Obviously, big loss in... who are they going for now? £6 million for one of our youngsters. If he goes, he goes. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Big loss in Ponce. Big money brought in, though. Not as much as he should have gone for. Juventus have just signed one of our youngsters. Fantastic. But we've still got £43 million and 250 grand available in the wage budget. Our overall balance has now jumped to £41 million. Purely because of that sale of Ponce, and that £41 million will see us okay through the rest of the season. You know, we're not going to feel any financial fair play stuff, so that's good. And there we are. The transfer window has shut for another January transfer. There's the big moves. As you can see, Mert is one of the listers, one of the highest incomings. Ponce is the highest outgoing. Saturday joined Red Bull Leipzig from Roma. I don't know about that. Not a very Not a very great player for £30 million, but nevertheless, we are the biggest spenders of the window at 56 million, purely because we sold so much, really, when you think about it, because obviously Ponce left, LCO left for nigh on 20 million, Diego Cafagna is due to leave at the end of the month to join, was it Slavia Prague, for around £15 million, so that's brought our transfer incomings and outgoings a lot closer together with the sale of Ponce and stuff. So there we are. We'll see how we go on for the rest of the season. We've lost the best striker in the game, but we have really strengthened our left wing back role and right wing back role. I think the right wing back we've brought in is better than Diego Cafagna. So it's ups and downs, you know, ups and downs. It's all it is. So looking forward to the next episode. It will, of course, be the Champions League first knockout round against Athletic Bilbao. There is a few games to play in between. We have Sampdoria in the Italian Cup as semi-final, both legs. We need to win that to get through to the Italian Cup final. But obviously, our main focus will be on Bilbao, and that will be the next episode. So if you have enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like. And if you are enjoying my content, get yourself subscribed. But until next time, take it easy.